Welcome back to another episode of The Karate Guys. I'm Richard Trammell, and this is
Patrick Zagombo.
And today, our special guest is the one, the only, the Matrix, AJ Weathersby.
Hey, what's up, guys?
All right.
Loose.
So let me tell you a little bit about Adrian. He's been working out with us since he was a teenager, for about 10 years now, right?
Yeah,
About 10 years now. His father brought him into the gym, and this tall, lanky kid came in and just started training with the grown-ups from day one. And he'd get it. He'd come. He'd train karate, kickboxing. He'd come and grapple. He'd come and do whatever everybody did, and never complain. He'd get in there and spar with adult men as a teenager, and over time, it just seems like yesterday, but it's 10 years. It seems like just like a blink of an eye. 10 years has just run by, and I remember his first fight was at one of our events, and he did a 360. He jumped and turned 360 degrees in the air and threw a low kick.
Yeah.
And then once we saw that, we were like, that's different. And then I said, I see it, the Matrix, because he would do things or try things, whether it makes sense to me or not. In his mind, he believes. So he is truly an artist. And anyway, but over time, he has become an incredible fighter. He's developed not just as a fighter, but as a martial artist in general. He's fought internationally. He's dominated the southeast scene, and now we're trying to get him out there, nationwide, and get him involved in more international competition. But anyway, like I said, you guys make sure you check out our YouTube channel. Look up AJ Weathersby, incredible future superstar of kickboxing. Welcome, AJ.
Thank you.
So AJ, tell us, first of all, how did you end up coming over to the gym?
So my dad was real big into Taekwondo, Tang Sudo, all different kinds of karate.
Yes.
They wanted to find like an actual karate gym.
Okay.
Because before he sparred with these guys and they wanted to be like real fighters. They say it was just theory, like I'm gonna do this and scratch a nipple and poke your nerve and I don't like anyone out doing this. Then he went to the instructor one day and asked him, so what happens if I put you in a chokehold, then what? And the teacher couldn't get out of it. And he was like, okay, this ain't real karate.
Right.
So he went and said, who's like the most real combat-oriented karate fighters in Georgia? And your name came up. And he started going there. And then eventually I followed him there because I was wrestling at the time in high school. And the rest is history.
All right. And so what high school did you go to here?
Westlake High School.
All right. Shout out to Westlake High School. And also, so once you finished high school, you went to, was it West Georgia?
Yep, University of West Georgia.
And what did you study at West Georgia?
I started with computer science.
Yes.
Then about 2 years in, I realized computer science has a lot of math in it.
Right.
Like calculus 1, calculus 2, calculus 3, all these high-level math. It's not numbers anymore. It's just like
right.
Sine, x plus cosine equals whatever. Okay. Let me switch majors. I went to MIS.
Okay.
Management Information Systems, graduated. Now I'm working in software development.
Okay, so so now you're in software development.
Yep.
So and now your father is a martial artist, but your mother's also a martial artist, correct?
Yep, she was doing karate right along with him.
Okay, so you come from a family of martial arts, and now both of your parents are from West Coast. So where are they from?
They were in my dad was actually born in Mississippi.
Okay.
My mom was born in California.
Okay.
My dad moved to California and they met there.
Okay.
And I was born in California and moved here to Atlanta when I was 4.
Okay. Okay. So you've been in Atlanta ever since.
Yep.
So so you got involved in martial. Now while at West Georgia, you also worked out with a good a friend, a guy that I know. I used to take lessons from his dad at Atlanta Judo Academy out in Kennesaw. No, it was Canton at the time. And Hat Wheeler. You got to train with Hat at West Georgia?
Oh yeah, he ran the West Georgia Judo Club.
Okay.
And they knew Josh White, and I told them I trained with Josh White, and we just started doing judo. Went to a few tournaments under there with him.
All right, so shout out to Hat, because Hat also follows what you do, via social media.
Oh, awesome.
So you got and then you got Paul that you remember Paul from West Georgia.
Paul Saman?
Kind of muscular guy, ball head, judo.
Blackeye?
Yes.
Yeah, Paul.
Okay, so I didn't know his last name, but actually Paul's been coming in the morning time sometimes and training with Josh.
I know that.
So and he always asks about you. So
cool.
So you judo brothers, a shout out to them as well. So you started competing. Can you tell us about your first, like I said, your first tournament? You fought. We did a tournament. I think it was like 2012 or something like that. And,
2012, 2013.
And yeah, we did at the YMCA, and we did a karate and a judo tournament. I remember your dad did the judo.
Yeah.
You did the karate, and like I said, you tell us about. Do you remember your first competition?
Yeah, I had a video on my Facebook actually.
Okay.
I just went in thinking I'm gonna kick.
And kick you did, and then you did. And now, with that being said, and now a lot of people, when they see you, they think of you as a kicker, but you've also tried some amateur boxing as well.
Uh-huh.
And so you tell us, what have you competed in? What are all the disciplines so far that you've competed in?
Okay, so first I started out wrestling in high school. When I started training with y'all, the first fighting I did was knockdown karate.
Okay.
Then from there I went to train with Jarrell, going out to Sancho kickboxing.
Okay.
Then from there we went to my first NFC fight, which was Muay Thai.
Okay.
And after that, sometime in that, we started doing amateur boxing.
Right.
Then after that, I had to fight doing MMA.
Right.
Did more kickboxing, and then I turned pro. So now I'm pro kickboxing.
So you've been a pro. Was it last April? When is it?
About a year now.
So I guess last April. So your first pro fight was in Las Vegas.
Yep.
And it was for the Final Fight Championship, the FFC. They're based in Europe, and they were looking for American kickboxers. And so tell us about that experience. You got to fight, in Las Vegas, which is the fight capital of the world.
Oh, it was awesome. They flew us out. They put us in a nice hotel. They gave us some extra money.
The food vouchers at the...
food vouchers. Gave us some walk around money too.
Right.
They gave us cool pictures. It was cool.
Right. And one thing I can say, now this guy, we get there, he has to do a weigh-in, he's making weight, and at the same time, he's on a laptop working all day.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. A lot of people know, like, you were working all day, you would go and you do your, your conference calls or...
Yeah, so I was still working doing software development for ServiceNow.
Right.
So, but I didn't take any time off. So that entire day, I was like just doing my work, going on meetings and all that, while wearing my sauna suit, cutting weight.
Yeah.
I'd be on one meeting right then, get off, go jump rope, listen with the headset on, come back. All right, nothing going on. Let me jump rope again. Keep going back and forth for like 3-4 hours straight.
Right. So, whereas a lot of people will say, okay, it's fight, 2 days before the fight, you're there, you got the weigh-ins, they take the half day off. He worked the entire day, right? And then, you ran in the morning. Remember we went?
Yeah, you went running with the sauna suit on, everything in the morning.
Right. And then he came, and so he was working and making weight, and then you finally made weight, and you fought the next night. What was that experience like? I mean, it was in the Rio hotel and casino in Las Vegas, and the actual venue is part of the hotel. Like, you go and you have like these different showrooms. So the FFC was actually part of the hotel. So I guess they had weekly fights.
Yeah, like all the hotels in Vegas have like built-in malls.
Right.
And like one of the storefronts in this mall in the Rio Grande was actual like a fight venue.
Right.
Dedicated to the FFC.
Right.
So he went in there, he walked in, he saw a bunch of like screens showing the fights all throughout the mall.
Right.
Then he went into there, it was like a bunch of chairs and scaffolding and stuff people to watch fights in.
Right.
He had this whole screen background, dancers, entertainers, all kinds of stuff going on. It was awesome.
Very, very nice show. And the cool thing about this show, they had, you were doing professional kickboxing. They had mixed martial arts and professional boxing all on one show. Very cool format.
The boxing fight was the best on that card.
Oh yeah, that particular night it was very, very exciting.
They made a wonderful bumper trailer for you. And I think it's funny how there's a weird thing that happens where they always make AJ look like a supervillain. And like he's probably the nicest guy ever, but they always do some shot where he's doing some fancy kick and then he turns backwards and they show his gi logo. So I just think that's funny that there's this weird thing. They did the same thing for what is it? The Battle for Atlanta?
Right.
They put you in the trailer and they made you look like a supervillain compared to your opponent.
Is that a coincidence? So with that being said, now you said he wore the gi. Mm-hmm. Now, one thing that you do that you don't see a lot of, I remember the famous kickboxer Andy Ho did it. You wear a gi into the ring. Why do you do that? What made you want to do that?
I feel like it's a statement. Like a lot of fighters go around saying traditional martial arts don't work.
Right.
That karate stuff doesn't work.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, I want to walk into the ring with my gi on. I'm going to murk all the best guys you have.
Right.
And then we'll see what you say then.
Now, and the only reason he doesn't wear the gi while fighting is because the commission say you got to wear shorts. I'm pretty sure you would wear the gi if you could, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Because like I watched like old school kickboxing fights where he had the gi pants on while
Right.
they were fighting.
Right.
How to do that?
Right.
But not anymore.
All right. Well, maybe one day somebody will let you.
Karate combat, Mike.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, for those of you who haven't seen Karate Combat, it is another new fighting sport that's out there that features karate fighters in a pit. And, we've sent information asking Karate Combat to get this guy on their show. So anybody from Karate Combat who's listening, you guys need to get him on the show. You're missing out if you don't. Now, you just recently signed with Lion Fight, which is one of the top Muay Thai organizations. Tell us about that.
Oh yeah, so how'd that happen? I remember the story behind it.
Well, I know that we've submitted, we've reached out to, so let's back up a little bit. You've been able to fight here locally as an amateur. And then later on, as you started to become an experienced amateur, it became difficult to get you fights.
Yeah.
I know you had to fight guys from, other places. I know we went up to Tennessee, you fought some guys, not Tennessee, but they were from Tennessee,
yeah.
but we were North Georgia. You fought some guys from Tennessee. You, at one of the fights, which was it? Wasn't NFC, it was the Blackeye.
Oh yeah, Blackeye.
You fought a guy from South Carolina, and like I know you said that you went down to Mobile with Jarrell and fought in the Sancho tournament. Then as far as the guys in your weight class, you fought as an amateur, you fought all the top guys in your weight class, and then it became difficult for you to get fights. What happened there?
I mean, the higher you go, the lonelier it gets.
Really?
By the point I got to about 15-2, I started looking up like databases and stuff on kickboxing. There's only about five or so fighters I could really find that had like records of 10+ wins.
Right.
Less than 2 or 3 losses.
Got you.
And trying to fight those guys, they were all scattered around.
Right.
No one really paid to make us fight each other. So
right. And I know as an amateur kickboxer, I remember we went up to fight in the New York Friday night fights, and you went up and you beat a local guy there, and we were hoping that they would have you come back for some strange reason they didn't have you come back. Now you fought up in New York twice. Now, what was the other event? Now, so you did one amateur fight up there, and then you did a pro fight. I believe that was your
my
second or third.
third.
Your third pro fight was up in New York for an organization, and you beat another local guy.
Yeah, Triton Fights.
Triton Fights. They do MMA and Muay Thai, and you beat a guy who was one of their top guys. And did they ever invite you back?
Not that I know of. They said they might try and find somebody,
Well,
but there's always something going on.
Yeah, a lot of times, I mean, promoters, they say they're gonna have you back. But I mean, I understand. I personally think that if you live there, it would be, they would definitely have you on. You'd probably be a local. If you were a local guy, then they would probably try to keep you active. But nobody wants a guy from another place coming and beating their regular fighters. Yeah. Maybe that's why. But going back to the fighters here now, you've in kickboxing, you fought at what weight classes?
I fought at 165, 170, 175, and 185.
185. So that's, man. So it doesn't matter to you if a guy is heavier, you'll go up and fight. I mean, not many guys can say that, because now you fought, what fight was that? You fought a pro fight here where you went up to 185?
Yes, I fought my second pro fight is the NFC at the Pink Pony.
Okay. And then was another one, right? Was there another one at 185 here?
Yeah, that was the one in New York where I fought
okay.
at Triton Fights.
Gotcha. And then now your last fight here was this past July.
Yes, that's where I fought Ricky Rainey.
And what weight was that?
That was I want to say 175.
175. And so you fought Ricky Rainey, who fought in UFC and Bellator. A veteran fighter. So how difficult is it for you to get fights here locally? I mean, I know you even put out on social media saying that you would give your purse up to get a fight. Does anyone ever reply when you do that?
People would say like, well, I'd be interested in this fight at this date, at this time, or I need some time to prepare right now. I'm doing other stuff in my life and all that.
But they never gave you like a future date, like, okay, I'll do it on this date.
I mean, to be fair,
5 years, 20 years from now.
It's only really about 4 or 5 guys even eligible to fight me. So, and most of them are close to retirement anyway. So.
Okay. Well, before they retire, shouldn't they want to fight?
Yeah, not everyone's built that way.
Really? Okay. All right. Now, let's go back to talk about karate here. Now, you fought Bare-Knuckle Karate. And what is fighting Bare-Knuckle Karate? What's the difference between that and you doing kickboxing?
I think Bare-Knuckle Karate, I feel like it's more intense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's less time to think about, okay, I'm going to throw this jab and follow up with this right hand and throw this kick. Once you're in there, you just do what you got to do.
Gotcha.
You got to hit this guy, I got to hurt him as fast as I can, without letting him hurt me. And it just happens all at once. Now,
in Bare-Knuckle, you fought at, 185. You've also fought at heavyweight.
Yeah. And
I remember we went down a few years ago to Alabama, World Oyama, and you fought a guy that was like 245. Was it 245 or 235?
I think it's bigger than that. I think it was like 250 or something.
He was a lot.
I just know
he was a massive guy. I was there too.
And you fought and you won that tournament, and so like I said, it's amazing that you're able to, you went toe to toe and went overtime and you wore this big guy out, and you tried to use the spear hand.
The way spear hand works, you aim for like soft spots in the body.
Okay, this guy really he really uses the spear hand nukite.
I've defeated one person with the spear hand before.
Okay, that's questionable, but we're gonna have to do a fight breakdown of that fight where he claims he claims that it was the spear hand, but I think it was the knee that hurt the guy. And as the guy was following, the spear hand came as part of the combination. But so now you fought in regular, we call knockdown karate, but you've also competed in what we call in Shidokan, strong rules karate. What is the difference between strong rules and regular knockdown?
So strong rules includes grappling. You can submit somebody within 5 seconds.
Okay.
You can clinch within 3 seconds.
And you can throw and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so you've done that, and you competed in Germany. So what countries have you competed in now?
I fought in Costa Rica, Japan, Ukraine, Kuwait. Did I say Japan?
Yeah, in Germany.
And Germany.
Germany. So your first trip to Europe a few years ago, you competed in the Shidokan European Championships, and you competed in 2 divisions. You did the strong rules karate division and the gloved, or we call it glove karate or kickboxing division.
Uh-huh.
And you pretty much won, like, I guess maybe 6 fights. You were going back to back. Was it 6?
5 fights that way.
Okay, so you had 5 fights in a day. Going from fighting karate to kickboxing, a very busy day, and you also received an award. Why did you get an award?
It was called the Samurai Spirit Award. They give you a sword, and it basically means you showed out in such a way that even beyond just winning your tournament, you're exceptional compared to the other fighters. Gotcha.
Now, okay, so you've and so that was you won a European Championship in 2 divisions. Then you went and won a was it Ukraine next?
Yeah, I think it was Ukraine that was next.
Oh, so no, the Ukraine was a world tournament, and you fought in triathlon.
Yes.
And you had 2 fights.
Yeah.
And that was at 180. Was that 185?
That was at 185, and the guy fought. He also won the Samurai Spirit Award in Germany.
Okay.
So we ended up fighting.
Okay, you fought him first,
yeah.
Right? And then you fought a fighter from Kuwait.
Yeah.
The second fight. No, I'm sorry. You fought the fighter from Kuwait first.
No, the way around. I fought
the
guy from Germany first.
Got you.
Then I fought for the actual championship award, the guy from Kuwait.
Got you. And then you fought in you also in between those 2, I think it was Costa Rica.
Yeah.
So you fought a triathlon fight in Costa Rica, and you fought a guy who was a veteran MMA and Thai boxer, and a veteran karate fighter as well.
Yeah, I feel kind of bad about that fight.
And why is that?
It was just, you can kind of tell by like the second or third round that the fight's pretty much decided. But
so
they won't throw a towel in out of pride.
Well, yeah, because I know you dropped the guys several times during the fight. You actually dropped them in each discipline. You had the karate rounds, and I believe you landed a knee, then knocked down, and then you got the kickboxing round. There was a couple of knockdowns, and then they finally stopped it when you got to the MMA rounds. They finally stopped it.
In the MMA round, halfway through, I threw a left hook, right uppercut.
Yes.
And I felt something coming between my fingers, and I saw a bunch of blood in my hands. And I looked at his face, and looked at the ref, yo, this has to stop.
Okay.
And the ref took one look at the other guy and just leave it off.
All right.
I don't know what happened to him. They said something happened to him after the fight, but he's fine now. So.
Oh, he didn't die, did he? No, he's fine. So okay. So then let's go to and then let's talk about your most recent Shidokan event. Was you went to the All Japan? You, Pat, Jarrell Bowman, and John Vaughn, who we had on our show, was our last guest, correct? Mm-hmm. John Vaughn was our last guest, and you went and you fought in the Shidokan All Japan Championships. Now, you did 3 divisions. You did the Bare-Knuckle, the Strong Rules Karate division, kickboxing, and triathlon. Now, how many fights did you fight that day?
7.
7.
About 7 fights because I wanted to. I don't think anyone had done it before in the Shidokan organization and won all 3 of them.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be the guy. I wanted to say, I'm the first guy to ever do this.
Well, I think so. I mean, that's definitely. I think so. You're definitely the first, and I'm a historian of the art. I can honestly write in my history book that you won. Like I said, those 3 divisions, and when next time we'll add a 4th. You got to win the kata division too. then you'll be truly special, right?
And he fought overweight, right? Like so in karate.
You did a couple different weight classes.
Yeah, it's weird how it kind of worked out. Like they put me into like a lower weight class for the kickboxing one, and then the higher one for the triathlon.
Right.
And then my normal one for
the bare-knuckle. Okay. So anyway, so you basically were fighting 3 divisions, 3 different weight classes in one tournament.
Yep.
So if you fighters out there ever complain about weight, stop complaining. Right?
How many of those fights ended by knockout, AJ?
6 of them.
Okay, so 6 of them ended by knockout in one day.
What, did you get too tired to finish the 7th guy? What happened?
I would have finished, but time ran out.
Oh, you ran out of time. Oh, okay. Okay. Ran out of time.
I had him hurt. I couldn't finish him.
Okay. All right. So that's truly amazing. To be able to finish, to finish one person is difficult, but to be able to do that 6 times in one day, that's truly impressive. So where are we at now? Like, okay, so we said that you're now signed with Lion Fight. I believe that the last time we spoke to the matchmaker, he was trying to get something set for April. They're about to start their shows up for 2021. They're going to try to get you on the April show. Now, a couple weeks ago, was it last week or a couple weeks ago for the fight that fell through?
It was supposed to be December 4th.
Okay.
So last week.
So yeah, so what I was hoping, it didn't work out this way, but this is what I was planning. So we do a weekly, Pat and I do this weekly show. My plan was, I knew that we were going to be in Oklahoma for, what is the name of the event?
XFN welterweight tournament.
So they were going to do a 8-man kickboxing tournament. Mm-hmm. You and 7 other fighters, and the winner must win 3 fights in one night, and to win prize money. What I was hoping was that you would have that opportunity, be successful, and we would, because I know we were scheduled to have a layover in, I believe, Raleigh or Charlotte airport.
I forgot where it was.
Yeah. So we had a several hour layover. So I was telling Pat, AJ will go win this tournament, and then we'll be in the airport and we'll do the podcast, last Saturday, talking about the tournament. But the tournament got canceled and postponed.
Yes, postponed to like February 12th.
Okay. So
I think it's worth mentioning about that. When his tournament was canceled, there was a local smoker unofficial event. AJ showed up in case there weren't enough fighters. So even if there wasn't a big fight for him, his love of the sport was like, I'm going to show up. And I appreciate that, AJ. You came and supported me, so I super appreciate that, AJ.
I mean, yeah, like fighting sake.
And then you did, I guess, and also several months back, you guys took some amateur fighters up to a gym up in Dalton, and you moved around with one of the heavyweights to get some work in.
Me and Dustin went up to do some amateur fights. Well, not really amateur fights, just like smokers.
Because he had so you went with him.
Yeah.
And you brought your stuff to give somebody. So they said, hey, they got a heavyweight, and you got some rounds.
Yeah. So I went 1 round with the heavyweight, and then I did like 1 round with the lightweight, just to move around with them, show off some skills, all that.
Okay. So you try to stay active, and you're always testing yourself and working out with various people. So you've recently you started working out with a couple of the Atlanta kickboxers, some heavyweight guys. Who are those guys you've been training with?
Oh yeah, Warren Thompson up at Knuckle Fitness.
Hello, Warren.
Yeah, a lot of the heavyweight fighters go up there to train.
Okay.
I figured I'm not realistically going to fight any of them, so why not?
Okay.
So train with them every Wednesday around, what time? Like 5:30, 5 o'clock.
Okay.
And we'll just get some work in, spar, move around a bit.
So tell us about your workout routine. What does the Matrix do to train?
So every day I wake up at around 6:30, go to LA Fitness.
Okay.
And I'll do like a half mile or 4 mile run. Then I'll go hit the bag for 5 or 6 rounds. Do my calisthenics, abs, crunches, pull-ups, dips. Then I'll go back home, shower up, work.
Okay.
Then around 12 noon, I'll take a lunch break, go to the gym, spar.
Okay.
Come back, shower, then do more work. Then I'll go to the gym at 6 for the actual class.
Okay.
and I'll do that consistently about 5 days a week.
Okay, so you pretty much work out 3 times a day, and and that's a lot of training. I mean, and that's like a professional fighter is supposed to. You know, so what do you see in the future? So you're fighting in Glory. I know you've expressed an interest to fight. I'm sorry, you're fighting in Lion Fight now, and I know you've expressed an interest to fight in Glory kickboxing. What do you see? What do you see in the future for yourself?
Well, ultimately, I want to prove that I'm the best kickboxer in the world.
Okay. So kickboxing promoters, he wants to prove that he's the best kickboxer in the world.
And to me, that means getting guys who are not just the best.
Okay.
The Cedric Doombays, the Merkel Grownharts, Licky Holskins.
Okay.
All those guys, I want to fight them, I want to beat them.
Okay. I mean, and that's the way you have to be to because now, who would you say when you look at some of your past opponents, who are some of your most difficult opponents?
Oh, the one two I've ever lost to, which is Ross Levine and JB Hawkins.
Now, is JB from fighting anymore? Is he hasn't been fighting recently?
I haven't seen him fight recently.
And JB was one of the top guys. Is it with 168 or
about 170?
170. JB was very, very, very good local fighter. Then you fought Ross Levine, but you took that fight like you actually come back from a tournament, and then you took that a fight on a week's notice.
Yeah, I fought in Ukraine, like that day. Then like on the way back from the airport, Kelly Leo reached out to us and asked us if we want to fight the next weekend. Down in Atlanta, I said, I don't feel hurt. Sure, why not?
Right. And then you went and fought with Ross, who's one of the best sport karate fighters in American history, and who's also now fighting in Glory. And didn't he get knocked out of the year last year?
Yeah, he sure did.
Yeah, he had a beautiful head kick knockout against another guy, a well-known kickboxer named Thomas. Can't remember the guy's name, but he's from France originally. And so like I said, you fought some. Even in, like I said, in the fight you fought JB, that was such a close fight. It could have gone either way. And I know you never got an opportunity to get a rematch there, but I mean, it was still, a wonderful fight. Even you actually you fighting, a veteran like, Ross, wonderful fight. Is there anybody you can think of in your or around your weight division that you have an interest in fighting?
I want to fight everybody.
Anybody can get it.
I mean, you make me not Ross. I want to fight all the guys in line fight my division.
All right.
I can go fight some of the heavyweights if I figured we can meet somewhere in the middle.
I got you. So, with that being said, so you're a lot of people might not know this, but when we're talking about Glory and we're talking about Lion Fight, we said Lion Fight is a Muay Thai organization. So you fight kickboxing and Muay Thai. So will you please tell the viewers the difference between the styles?
So kickboxing, like it sounds, it's boxing with kicks.
Okay.
Muay Thai is punches, kicks, elbows, knees. You can sling people around. You can sweep them. You can twist them around, make them fall. It's pretty much MMA without grappling.
So how do you feel anything different doing these different sports? I mean, because some guys are good at one, and they're not good at the other. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So how do you find that you're able to transition between these two different sports? Or, like I said, you do bare-knuckle karate, you do kickboxing, you do travel. How is it that you're able to do these different things?
Well, I understand what kind of fighter I am at my core, first of all. So
yes.
Even though I'm fighting boxing, or I'm fighting kickboxing, or I'm fighting Muay Thai, I understand that I'm a tall, lanky guy, so I gotta fight, stay long, use my distance.
Right.
So if I'm boxing, I'll stay long. If I'm kickboxing, I'll stay long. If I'm fighting Muay Thai, I'll stay long and I'll clinch. If my leg go to clinch, I'll stay long.
Right.
I use my kicks when I can. I use my reach when I can.
But I'm saying I've seen you knock out people with knees, with kicks, with punches. You seem to be efficient at all the ranges.
Yeah. So I have a core style. So I use
right.
So someone gets into middle range, I'll counter with an uppercut or something.
Right.
Or I'll throw a hook, or I'll throw a check knee. But all that's keep you from getting close to me. I'm not trying to get close to you on purpose.
Gotcha.
So my whole style is built around keeping distance and pushing you dead close.
Right.
That's whether I'm boxing, kickboxing, or anything.
Gotcha. And also, like I said, when you fought in Germany and we were doing Shidokan strong rules, I noticed that you were able to throw a lot of people. You looked like a judo expert. I mean, and that's in close. I mean, you even threw picture perfect throws and remained standing. You know, so how are you able to pull that off?
I mean, I've been training with what's the name? Half wheeler, Josh. You
right.
I've been doing judo for a long time, so
right.
I know the skill. I just don't typically compete that often with it.
Right, but it seems as though you're able to pull it off when you need it.
Yeah, just a lot of guys in Shidokan don't necessarily train all three like the style implies.
Got you.
When it comes to executing it, they didn't know how to respond to it.
Gotcha. Now, another thing that is different about with a lot of fighters, like I said, you said that a lot of people, a lot of times they don't respect the traditional martial arts. And would you consider yourself a traditional martial artist?
Absolutely.
And I noticed that you're a legitimate Shidokan black belt. You can do pretty much all the katas that we have in our system.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times I see guys they'll do the fighting aspect, but they can't do the martial art or the some of the other aspects of karate. Do you feel that this type of training that you do makes you different, or it helps you in a unique way?
Absolutely. So what I see is a lot of people don't necessarily like martial arts. They might like to fight, they might like to do martial arts, but they don't like to combine it all to one thing.
Gotcha.
So I'll do different stuff, like I'll take a step and do a side, I'll do something out of a kata in a real fight, and it'll seem like I'm just making stuff up, but it's really textbook kata stuff.
The bunkai, the applique, hidden meaning of kata. You got to do a video. All right. So now let's go back to, like you said, now your father is also a black belt in karate, and he also has a black belt in Tang Sudo.
Mm-hmm.
And
Shidokan, Tang Sudo, and Shidokan.
So he's pretty much a lifelong martial artist. But now your father is also a pastor, correct? And so is your mother.
She's not a pastor, she's a preacher.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Now, she's offered to be a pastor.
Okay, I got you. So they both I say spread the gospel.
Yes.
So what church?
Mount Pleasant Baptist Church.
Shout out to Mount Pleasant Baptist Church and Reverend Mr. and Mrs. Weathersby. And so now, another thing a lot of people don't know about you that I found out just by looking at your Instagram page is that you can skate.
Oh, yeah. I've been going to Cascade skating rink for the last year or so.
Okay, he can do all the turns and backwards and spin. Looks like figure skating on roller skates. Now you injured your ankle one time, and then you went and fought like a few days after injuring your ankle.
Yeah, so I was in Cascade trying to learn how to spin in different directions than I normally do, and I fell and twisted my ankle a little bit, like the week before I went to fight in New York.
Yes.
So it was mostly healed by the time I got to New York, but then after the first round, I threw a kick, and I took a step back and planted the wrong way, and I re-injured it.
Gotcha.
So for like the second half of the first round, I was just trying to finish the guy as hard as I could, or just
punches,
throwing everything I could, because I knew by second round I might not be able to get back up.
So do you have a favorite technique? Do you have what are your favorite techniques?
Oh, my go-to is the jab.
The jab.
Whether I'm kickboxing, karate, anything.
And
my first thing I want to throw is a jab. The last thing I want to throw is a jab.
And how about kicks? What do you have a favorite kick?
My favorite kick would be the spinning back kick.
The spinning back kick. I love the spinning back kick too. Pat, what is your favorite kick?
Probably side kick or low roundhouse. I like the front left roundhouse to the head.
Okay.
But I think the most effective has been the low roundhouse for me as a heavy guy.
Yeah, you do have a very good low kick.
My most terrified kick of AJ is his side kick because his jab sets up a side kick so well because you raise your hands to defend your face, and it just gets there every time.
It's my entire fighting style. Jab, side kick, jab, side kick.
Which you may know from, I think it's Pinion number 3 does that, or is it Pinion number 4 where you jab and then side kick? No, it's even
the
number
back
2.
fist, the
Yeah,
back
it's even
fist,
number 2, back
yeah.
fist side kick. So
Mate, is that where that comes from? Pinion 2, kick, right?
That's part of it.
Right. So what do you see? Like I said, right now things have been slow competition-wise because of the pandemic, and it looks like events are starting to be scheduled for this upcoming year. So like I said, I know we're waiting to hear back to see if you have an opportunity to line fight. You have a tournament that was supposed to be last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
They postponed that. So what are you expecting to do? Are you familiar with any of the fighters in this 8-man tournament?
I know of 2 of them.
Okay.
The guy, I forgot his name, but he fought Raymond Daniels. And it was like a viral video where Raymond Daniels was spinning back kick and caught him in the groin twice.
Right.
And it was ruled no contest. So.
Right, I saw that, and that was really, really hard blows. I mean, they looked accidental, but he got really nailed. So if you fight that guy, first thing you should do is kick him in the groin. I'm teasing. You're just faking. Flashbacks.
The other guy recognizes, I want to say his name is Jake Lindsay.
Okay.
I've seen a few of his fights online, but I didn't really know who he was until his name came up in the tournament.
Gotcha.
So I know of them, but the rest of the fighters I'm not too clear about.
Gotcha. Yeah, I know in your weight class, I know there's a couple guys that fight in. I've seen, I think, fighting Glory. Troy. I remember that name. Troy Jones. And then, yes, sir. And then there was one guy. Now, I know you've communicated with one guy, but about you two possibly meeting, but it never happened. Like, I know over time, you've reached out to other kickboxers to see if you could get matches made.
What's the guy's name?
I can't remember. From like DC or something?
What's from DC?
Or Ohio.
I do remember, I know what you're talking about, I just can't remember his name. But
Okay.
he's a pro kickboxer, like,
Right.
I think 3-0 record or something around that.
Right.
He's trying to get fights out here. I'm trying to fight him, but it's just so far away.
I got you.
With all COVID going on.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, so that means that right now, so some fighters can use the pandemic as an excuse. But once this is over, you got to step forward and you got to fight, put up or shut up, right?
Yeah.
What else would you like to tell us about your? Your goal is to prove that you're the best kickboxer and to fight the best kickboxers that you can. Or Thai boxers. Do you have any other martial arts goals?
That's the one I really care about.
Gotcha.
Because I feel like kickboxing is the best martial art.
Right. It's so exciting. I mean, I really like watching. I like to watch a lot of the old school K1.
Yeah.
Which is Glory. I mean, basically Glory ruled it. I mean, before there was Glory, it was K1. It's the same. Mm-hmm. Just some of the most exciting fights when you have guys like Ernesto Hus, the Andy Hogue. I was watching Sam Greco and Ernesto Hus fight recently. Just incredible action.
I think before that, like the Peter Cunningham.
Those guys, and those guys come back from the American kickboxing days, and they actually they had long careers because they both did, and they were unique in that they too would fight like Peter Cunningham. I know he's one of your favorite kickboxers. Mm-hmm. And as a matter of fact, you guys kind of have a similar style, Yeah. He uses he boxes with that jab, uses that lead leg like a hand.
Yeah, I'll say sometimes I was born in the wrong generation. I should have been fighting back in that generation.
I think so too. That's back during my time. I think you would have been a superstar back in the day of the PK, Kick of the 80s. They used to have a weekly show on ESPN. It would come on Professional Karate Association, Kick of the 80s. And it'd be a guy, Kia. And, but weekly shows. nice shiny satin gi pants, and all the karate superstars were fighting then, and I think you would fit in wonderfully back then. You would just be a superstar. You'd be a hit. So maybe we need to bring back old school kickboxing.
That's my goal.
I'd be interested in doing that. For people to see back when they were 12 rounds.
Yeah.
12 round.
I do want to do that one day. I want to have a kickboxing match that goes 12 rounds. Just see I did it.
Oh yeah. So maybe we need to reach out to some of the old school promoters. But I know that like I said, things right now are kind of on a hiatus. I know that Joe Corley, who's very very instrumental in making American kickboxing really popular, and he was one of the promoters in the 80s, 70s, and 80s, especially here in Atlanta. He's the guy who created the Battle of Atlanta, and he used to put on, kickboxing matches at the Omni, Georgia Tech Coliseum, all the big hotels here in Atlanta, and I know they're looking to recreate or revitalize the PKA, and they did an event a couple of years ago in Canada with the help of a former champ, Jean-Yves Thériault, and I know there've been talk about bringing that style of kickboxing back. So I'll definitely reach out to Mr. Corley and see if they have anything on the shelf that they're trying to pull off, and definitely have those guys take a look at you, because you definitely would help us.
Sure, I've seen a few of those style shows over in New York a few times.
Yeah, and I know in New York they'll still do. I know Bobby Campbell up in Long Island, who's a promoter. He's brought guys from the UK. He had a team a couple years ago when Vinny fought the first time he fought. I can't remember the guy's name. Vinny fought up there, and Bobby brought a team from the UK versus Team USA, and it was a mixture of above the waist of a style kickboxing, glory rules, and low kick, which was basically kickboxing with low kicks but no clinching knee.
Oh, they mix some rules like that?
Yes, yeah. So yeah, when he does shows, he kind of mixes, the different styles. So there's still fighters that do that discipline. It's just finding those shows and the promoters that would do it. But I think people, if they were to see it, they would like it. People will like, if it's a good fight, people are gonna like it.
Mm-hmm. That's part of the problem. A lot of people want to do MMA now.
Yeah. And now you have, like we said before, you got the Karate Combat, you got Lion Fight, and as a matter of fact, Lion Fight is now going to be showcased on UFC Fight Pass. So when you start fighting on Lion Fight, everybody will be able to see it on UFC Fight Pass. So they just made that announcement like a week ago. I told you about that, right?
Yeah, that's all right.
So that's how you guys will be able to see him when he fights for Lion Fight on UFC Fight Pass.
Awesome.
Is there anything else you would like to say to the fans, out there?
Not really.
Okay. AJ, is there any shout-outs you want to make? Okay. It's okay if I ask him some questions?
Oh, wait, yeah, I was going to say before we're done, you got to do the...
Of course, I'll ask him some questions. But actually, so of all the fighters on here that we've had, I feel like I know AJ probably the best. But that's hard to know because AJ's so humble. He doesn't really talk about himself. He helped me a lot when I was first starting. So I have a lot of questions for you. The first would be, you started when you were about 14, 15, right?
Yeah, about 15 years old.
Yeah, but you were taking the adult class, right? You didn't.
No, he never did the kids.
I know he had a kids
He was like, yeah, and even if he was 12, he was like 6 foot. He was the same height then, so we would still put him in the adult class.
Still, I hear that was the Wild West days of the gym, so people were going a little bit harder. What was your mental game that at 15 you could fight people? And I've seen you spar your dad. Your dad does not go easy, big bro. So how did you get through that? What was going through your mind?
I think you just gotta be have a certain mentality about fighting, period. You just have to be someone who thinks, I'm going to try to win. And back then, in the old gym, we had that blood stain on the wall from that one incident that we never cleaned just for people to know.
How did they get there?
You tell me.
I don't know how it got there.
Just that little blood stain on the wall was just to let everyone know. If you come in here trying to swing and act tough,
Right.
something's going to happen to you.
Okay, so one thing I super respect about you is there's a lot of fighters that try to make a name for themselves by talking trash. That has never been your way. You're more like GSP, where you let the work speak for itself, and you've been very polite. Has that prevented you from getting fights? Has you dealt with any difficulties for being a more classy fighter?
I wouldn't. I'm not sure, because most of the time people start like talking mess and making all these personal jokes and all that. They don't usually fight anyway, so.
Did anyone ever get under your skin when they were doing that?
You know what? I don't think anyone's ever really tried to call me out on a disrespectful level before.
Okay.
I'm sure I would get mad, but everyone's for the most part just been, you gonna fight? Sure, I'll fight. You fight. Life goes on. No one really.
I mean, you're paying people to fight you at this point, right? So you're putting offers out there like, hey, that's how excited I am. So I don't think it works to talk shit about you because you're always down to fight.
Yeah, that's bigger. What matters? What's the point of trying to get mad and all that? I want to fight you anyway, so let's have fun with it.
So in traditional martial arts, there's a whole philosophy aspect to it. We say things like no self-serving fights, stuff like that in Shidokan. You present yourself as a very traditional martial artist. What are some of the philosophies that you hope people learn from watching you and that you hope to uphold?
The biggest thing is fight for the sake of fighting. Don't fight to try and build a name or try to get a following or try to reach any particular goal or make money. Just do it because you love it. I'll train at LA Fitness in the morning just for the sake of hitting pads and getting better. I'm not necessarily training for a fight or anything.
Is it a marriage to self-improvement that brings that out, or?
Yeah, I just want to be the best I can. I don't want to necessarily be better than the next guy.
Okay. Do you sometimes find it's hard to relate to your coworkers or anything like that because you have this fighting background, or do you feel like it's you get along?
Well, I'm by far the youngest person in any job I'm working at, so I can't relate to them anyway.
Yeah. Did you have any difficulties being a preacher's kid in pursuing a career in fighting?
I never really saw any kind of issue between the two.
Okay.
I figured my dad does karate.
Yeah.
So why should I feel any kind of way about it?
Okay, I'm gonna hit you with those fast questions I always do.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite video game character?
Favorite video game character? That's a tough one. I will say, for the sake of karate, Ryu.
Okay, so we've got two Ryus on there. Favorite video game?
Favorite video game, Halo.
Okay. Favorite car?
Corvette.
Okay, cool. You switched to a Jeep though. Is there a reason you went for the Jeep, or?
I can't be responsible. If you see your car.
Favorite hobby outside of martial arts?
Skating.
Okay. Would you like to compete in any other sport? Do you want to compete in skating, or?
I've considered going to boxing just for the sake of trying to get more fights, but I gotta get ready for that because boxing, it's not like kickboxing. You can just tie up and kick people and stay away. You can't box. You're just gonna get pieced up.
Right.
What do you think is the biggest component of your mental game? I guess it's not a quick question, but.
The biggest component, I'd just say, enjoy what I'm doing.
Okay.
So
I definitely like Mr. Trammell always brings this up when he gives speeches about why people should fight. You definitely enjoy fighting. Like you have it's almost like a cat playing with his food sometimes.
Right.
Even if you're in a tough situation, I can still tell you're enjoying it. Is there something special you do to foster that, or?
my mentality is, even if I'm going to lose, I'm going to try to win the fight anyway. So when I was fighting Ross Levine, at the last round, I realized, okay, I can't outkick him. I'm losing the boxing match. Let me just go for it. Okay. I just started swinging with him. And he almost knocked me out, but...
Yeah, you were there to bang.
Man, it's worth it.
Yeah.
And now, do you find that, I was going to say, speaking of that, it seemed like you try to have fun while you're fighting. Like, it looked, like say, you'll try things, you'll jump and spin, and you'll try things like what's that dreaded kick?
The
Scorpion kick.
Scorpion kick. I can't say.
It's a spinning back kick without the spin.
You'll do
To the
it.
scorpion kick.
I'm not going to bring to that one back.
We almost got him, guys.
You'll try techniques at some guys that are kind of dangerous, and I'm like, no, but you still try it. So you're obviously having fun.
Yeah, for sure. That's the point of fighting to me. Like I watch movies like Boondocks or
Right.
The Last Dragon and think, you know what? I'm gonna try that in a real fight one day.
So anybody that does fight choreography for the movies, and he does it for real.
Okay. Favorite action star?
My favorite action star. I'll say Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Okay. Favorite technique Jean-Claude Van Damme has done?
The only one he's known for.
The
split kick.
The helicopter kick. Is there any other technique?
Okay, I'm sort of out of fast questions. So same question that I ask most people, which is, who is your favorite 2019 semi-knockdown champion who's testing for brown belt next week?
Who fought in Japan? Who fought in Japan with you?
Oh, I like it.
Which Pat? Pat Zagombo.
Okay, and here's a real serious question. For people like me who are coming up, I may be older than you, but I use the phrase little big brother, because although you're younger than me, you're definitely more experienced. You're definitely wiser about fighting. What's your advice for people like me who's just trying to make it?
Just find a way to have fun with it. Okay. That's the biggest thing. If you don't enjoy what you're doing, you're not going to get that much farther.
I just wanted to say, of course, I appreciate you always supporting me. AJ, you were there for my first fight. You were there last week for my last fight. When I was freaking out in Japan, there was a big smile on your face. You're like, what are you worried about? J1's bigger than this guy, Chuck's bigger than this guy. So you've always been a grounding force, just like everyone else. And I appreciate you, little big brother.
Well, AJ, thanks again for joining us, and thank you for taking time out of your day to come and be on our podcast. Viewers, you will enjoy it. You look out for wonderful, great things in the future from AJ. And remember, fight promoters, give us a holler. He's ready.
And we'll definitely have AJ back on. So if you have any questions, even if you're from the gym, make sure to throw them in the comments. We'll collect them. I love catching up with AJ.
Now, with that being said, I don't think we've done this before. If you guys out there have anything you want to hear from us, or you have questions you want us to talk about, let us know.
Oh, definitely.
Let us know.
Especially with people like AJ, they're so humble. They'll never talk about themselves. They'll do things like win a tournament somewhere, and I'll find out in passing like a week later, like, oh yeah, I won that fight, et cetera, et cetera. So make sure to give us some questions. It's hard to keep up with how accomplished these people are.
I do think we should have one topic.
What's that?
Developing fighters.
Developing fighters. Okay.
Particularly in Georgia.
So what do you think we need to do to develop fighters? I mean, because what do you see when you look at the young fighters now? The level, skill. What is your perception of what you see?
Oh, just this past fight show we were just at yesterday?
Yes.
I saw a few guys there that were training when I was starting out training. We're still amateurs. Don't look that much better than they did 5-6 years ago.
Really?
And I'm questioning like, okay, how do these people still the same level? Then I look and be like, a lot of guys don't have real coaches or real teams. They're just kind of doing stuff.
Well, with that being said, I mean, I like when I was coming up, all your coaches, they were old like me or older, right? Now I see coaches, for me as a coach, I see guys that are like under 30, and they're and I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm not saying that you can't be a good coach. I mean, anybody could probably be a good coach, but to answer that question, when you see, technically some of the young fighters we see that might not have the fundamentals that they maybe should have. Okay, the reason you see that is it goes back, like I said, if the trainer doesn't have the fundamentals to give, then that's why you see, and I'm not saying the level of fighter is bad per se, but there are a lot of bad fighters in the fight game in all combat sports, and I think that's because everybody today wants to be a coach. Everybody wants to tell somebody what to do. But let me tell you something, fighters. The only real coach you do have coaches. Don't get me wrong, but it's you who determines if you're going to be a good fighter or not. Yeah. Okay? It's you. People can share with you things, they can give you things, but it has to be something within that makes you a good fighter. And I think that you get a lot of people that convince people, like, I convince you that I can make you a good fighter, So I think that's the problem, if I answer that correctly.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, there's I think in young fighters that looking to get into the fight game, make sure you don't just take advice from anybody.
Don't hate on my Zoom class, Sensei.
What's that?
Don't hate on my Zoom class, Sensei.
No. But I mean, what does it take now to be a guy? I see guys that
You just put the name in front of your
They have less than 5-10 fights, and they're coaches. Like my coach, the late Asa Gordon, once told me. He said, "Richard, by the time you understand everything you need to know about fighting, you'll be too old to do it." And what that meant was, I better understand, based just from experience and just watching over and over again. It's not, like I said, it's not, now they want to make it rocket science. You know what I mean? People want to make things complicated. And it's not that complicated.
Yeah, I say it looks like an old school feeling gym. Like when I come to your gym, it feels like an old school gym. You'll see posters from like the 80s, black and white pictures. You'll see.
I'm not in those black and white pictures.
Dozens of
You actually are, but yeah.
You'll see like dozens of fight posters from past fights just covering the gym walls. You'll see worn bags, worn out gloves.
Yeah.
Creaky floor. It feels like an actual fight gym.
Well, what I always tell people, like every gym that I've ever trained in to get, ready for fights, was never like the air conditioned. It was never comfortable. You can't. You have to create an environment that puts fighters on edge. You can't. It can't be too comfortable.
So comfortable with comfortable with discomfort.
Exactly. You must become comfortable with discomfort because fighting is about dealing with discomfort.
Yeah, I mean, back in the old days, I was like just starting out. You came to a gym, you felt tension in the air.
Exactly. Something's bad gonna happen today.
Everyone's dropping their hands, staring at each other.
Yes. But that's just, you gotta have the hairs on the back of your neck stand up a little bit.
And people start fighting, some mouthpiece fly out, someone gets hurt. Not how it should be sometimes, but it keeps you on edge.
We're a lot more careful nowadays.
Yeah.
Now they got all these studies about CTE.
And now people want to spar on like open mats where no one gets hit for real. Like,
Yeah.
y'all training, are y'all?
No.
So I do have a question. What are the open mats like? I've never done that really.
Oh, open mat sparring?
Yeah.
It's like
Yes.
a bunch of people, like we do in like karate class where everyone's just sparring, moving around. But even at our karate class, there's not a lot of space to move. At a lot of the gyms, it's just like you can run laps around the whole place. You don't want to get hit.
Okay.
And that's cool for just training, but in the actual ring, you get cornered, then what?
Right. Got to stay in your ground. That's why everybody should do knockdown karate because you will have to fight.
Knockdown karate or boxing.
Yeah, you have to fight.
That feeling when you get pinned down, someone swinging on you, you can't escape. That's what you know if you're a real fighter or not.
Exactly.
Well, I got no more questions for you, AJ. Do you have any questions for us, AJ?
Nothing for me.
All right.
It was
Well, all right, guys. Well, thanks again for tuning in to another episode of The Karate Guys. We'll see you next time.
one last thing I want to do is have AJ stand, and I want to show the size difference from AJ. He's fighting in my weight class a lot, and I'm 230 pounds, and you're 175. Yeah, so like the fact that he's just murking people my size, I think is hilarious. So let's stand up just a little bit so people can see that my body is like that.
I'll stand up too so you can see how massive, how
Like,
tall I
I'm
am.
this big guy, and AJ's just knocking us. AJ's just knocking us out every 2 weeks. So be afraid no matter what you weigh.
Us.
Us.